Hey guys, Chad Taverny here with Vantage Point Outdoors, and on today's video I just wanted to give you a quick little field tip, and it's something that I think is worth noting, and that's what kind of SD cards should you run in your trail cameras. Now I run literally dozens of trail cameras and various different brands of trail cameras, and I tell you what, over the years I've noticed one thing, that the best SD card that you can put in your trail cameras are these SanDisk brand cards. I've used other cards in the past, and I'm not saying that other cards won't work, but let's just say in the last 8-10 years that I've ran trail cameras, I don't think I've ever had a problem with using one of these SanDisk branded cards, whereas I have had some issues with other brand cards. It just seems like some of the other cards, if you put them, depending on what camera you put them in, a lot of times you'll get a corrupted card error message, and you don't get it until 2 weeks or a month after you come back to check your trail camera, and you check your camera and you've got no pictures because the card corrupted just shortly after you left and put the card in it. So in my opinion, these SanDisk SD cards are the way to go for SD cards for your trail cameras. I have probably, I've got dozens of these SanDisk cards, and it's pretty much all I use now for my trail cameras. And I like to use the 8 GB ones, or at least a 4 GB card, because today's trail cameras are getting more and more advanced every year, and a lot of these trail cameras nowadays have pretty pretty large photos in terms of megapixel size, and they'll chew up through your cards very quickly. And a lot of times, if you have one of those old 1 GB cards in there, or 2 GB cards, those can get, depending on what camera you got them in, those can get filled up in like a month. And if you've got your camera out there for a couple of months or 2-3 months before you can check it because the camera's out of state on a hunting lease or somewhere where you can't check it very often, I think you want to go with a larger card. So I usually pretty much go strictly to the 4 GB or 8 GB cards nowadays, although I do still use some of my smaller 2 GB cards that I've got because I had them years ago and they still work well, and I'll put those in my cameras that I know I'm going to be checking within a month or so. I use the 2 GB cards in my cameras that are in places that are easy to get to, like if I have a camera on a field edge or a place that just doesn't get a lot of deer activity, I'll probably put a 2 GB card in there. But then my cameras that I've got tucked back into a swamp or tucked way back into some security cover, where I only go in there and check those cameras every couple months, then I go for my 4 or usually an 8 GB card. This way here I know, regardless of how many deer come through there, got a pretty small chance of those cards being filled up. So I just want to give you a little tip video on that. I've just noticed over the years of running trail cameras that it seems to be these SanDisk branded SD cards have worked the best for me in my trail cameras. I want to thank you for tuning into the show as always, and I'll see you next time right here on the VPO Minute.